Everyone, welcome back to the White One Auto YouTube channel. And what we have in here today is a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's in for a power steering fluid leak. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this thing up in the air, have a look underneath, see if we see signs of fluid leaking from down there, and trace it on. So let's get it raised up. And while I was raising it up, this is just one thing I saw. I think this is probably the power steering cooler. It's just hanging there. I don't think that's the transmission cooler. So we need to be mindful of that too. Okay, so it is definitely wet down here. If you see, let me grab something. So there is a line right here that has, you can actually see drops of fluid on there. Fluid is actually dropping off of this deteriorated line right there. And that is what is making our leak. That should go up to our power steering pump. I believe it does. And this has one of those electric power steering pumps, I do believe. There's also this line right here that doesn't look so great. So let me just pop this cover off right here just so we can get a better look. So this is that line that we were seeing, that's that holder. So this line here is leaking, and that goes into our power steering pump right here. This is our power steering pump. It's an electronic power steering pump as opposed to one driven off of the engine. So we are gonna get this line right here, and I'm gonna advise them about replacing this one, but this one definitely needs to be done. So they will make their decision as to what they want to do, and we'll check back in with the fix. Okay, so we got approval from our customer to do this line right here. So we are going to replace that line as well as the pressure line that is starting to rust out, because we don't want this thing coming back for the same issue. So first thing we are going to do is get us a drain pan, because this thing is going to be messy. And then we're going to let the car down and use our fluid extractor and suck out whatever remaining fluid is in the reservoir. So you got to remove our splash cover over here so we don't crush it with the hoist, and then let this thing down so we can suck the fluid out. They did not approve us fixing this thing because we probably have to pull this bumper off, but it is what it is. Okay, so we will plug up air to our fluid extractor. Then we take this hose and shove it down in there. And you can see fluid is coming out through there. So we'll let this suck it out. The line with the quick disconnect, the hose line assembly that goes directly to the cooler. This one is the one that connects into here. This goes into there. And then this one will go to our power steering pump. So first step we will do is disconnect this line right here from our cooler. So the way I get this off is I just opened up this clamp right here, took my pliers on there and twisted it off, and it comes loose. Then because we aren't using this hose, I'll just cut that hose. So now that hose is cut, The remaining fluid is draining out. This pipe coming out here is about a 1/2 inch almost. But the hose we got for that replacement is not that size. So what I believe we have to do is take this and come back further at our cooler here and then connect it there. So that's what we're gonna have to pull this down anyway and take a look, because this thing should be clipped on right here, I think. This should go like right there. Yeah, so we're gonna have to make this work correctly. So what we're gonna do is pop these clips out so we can pull this down, and that should give us access to our cooler there. And you see how those are a little bit smaller in there, so let's do that. Okay, so we had to pop this down, and this goes right along there with these little turn clips. And now once you get that down, you just need to open this retainer right there to free it so we can slide our new one in there. And the clip for this thing is gonna be, where's that at? Let me find it. So the opening is right there. So we'll get a flat bait tool, pop that open, and then get the rest of our hose assembly out. So you shove it in there like that, and it just pops open. So now we have that pops open. Okay, so after we get this down, which is these little clips, and there's some little turn clips. So here's our power steering cooler. So this is the line that we're gonna get off. Let me see if I can move it over some more. So this right here is the line that we take off, and that's gonna be the other end of our power steering hose. Okay, so we got our cooler down now. You can see that hose just fell, so this is the other end. So what we need to do now is disconnect in here, which will just pull this clip out, and then I'll pop that out. So what we do is we take this clip out, and then that section of line will slide right out. So or you could use a quick disconnect tool too, but I just got a pick tool here, and that's what we're gonna use. And it's out. You want to save that, even though the new one does come with one. But these things are like gold when you need one. So now this thing is ready to come off, and it's off. So next we just gotta hook our new line on and get in our retainer. So we got our new hose on there. So what we're gonna do is put this back in place and get our retainer clip over here on. Okay, so we got our cooler back up here. I tucked it back up here so it's not hanging down as much, but that does need to be repaired. So what we're gonna do is put our bottom part back in. There was some fluid on it, so we need to clean that off so it doesn't continue to drip. So next we're gonna get this bolt out right here. Feels like it's a 10, so we can start getting this power steering pressure hose off. So somebody may have replaced this line before, because this is held on with a zip tie. So we'll just cut that zip tie and then finish getting this line off, and then go to our pressure line. So let me get focused in on here. So see, there's another holder right, oh boy, right here. Yeah, right there. That bolt head is on the back side of that. So it's this one right here, and that's the bolt head right there. So make sure you get a good socket on there, because you don't want to round that off because it's pretty rusted already. Okay, so we have that clamp off. Let me move it down here some. So it is right there. And that screw was a 10mm screw. So I'm not going to pull this hose all the way out right yet. I'm going to wait just so I can route it back correctly. But now we're going to work on getting this stubborn bolt out right here that bolts that down. So we got that bolt out. That was a 10mm bolt, just like that other clamp. Now what we're going to do is, now you can see our line runs up over here and goes into our gearbox right there. So we're gonna get a crow's foot, put it on that gearbox, and, on that nut on our rack, This isn't our gearbox, this is a steering rack and pinion, but we will get that loose, and then that'll be next. I think that's an 18, but let me double check. So that is an 18. We got our crow's foot on there. We'll break that thing free and then turn the line out. Okay, so we have our line loose from our steering gear. Then now we just need to come along and get it loose from our power steering pump. It's that right there. That's a torque screw, I believe a number 40. And then I think we can snake it around without having to pull this bracket off. That's what our goal is to do. Okay, now for that pressure hose, there's one more holder. It gets it down. It's right here. It is right here. And that's an 8mm screw. So you got to get that out. And then we should be able to snake it out then. Okay, so we did have to remove this bottom bracket. It's over there. This thing was spinning, so we just had to flap it down because it's all rusted up in there. So that will allow us to get this line out now, and then we can get our new line in. Okay, so this is our old line. We have that off. And this here is our new one. So we need to transfer this bracket and this one over to our new one in the same position. You just pop this clip up and it came. Okay, so we got our brackets now transferred over to our new line. We're not gonna put our new O-rings on until we get it up in place because we don't want to damage them. So now we got to work this thing in. We're gonna put it in on this side first and then snake it over here. Okay, so we got our line pretty much in. So we're gonna put our O-ring on up here so we can put our bracket on the back. Okay, so we got both our hoses on and got everything tightened down. This is that one clamp that we had to do like that because this one is spinning. We got this clamp back here, that clamp up there. So now what we're gonna do is let this thing down and put some fluid in it. Okay, so we have our engine running. We checked our oil level. You can see we have fixed all of our leaks. This thing is wrapped up. So we put a cooler line, this one right here, and the pressure line, this one right here. This took a lot longer than I originally thought it would take, just because it's a little hard to snake the lines in there. And you had a lot of rusted bolts here that were just difficult to get off. So it is done. A quick overview. Make sure you put new O-rings up there on your fitting there. New O-rings at your gearbox. And just take your time with this thing. Just really just take your time. And we've also hosed off our cover down there, and we'll clean off some of this residual fluid here just so it still doesn't look like it's leaking. But here you can see our old lines. So this thing is all wrapped up. Thank you all for following along. White One Auto out. By the way, you can see we've hung up our power steering cooler a lot better than it was before. So thank you all for following along. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe. White One Auto out.